Hi, my name is MelCollie and thank you for joining me today for today's Pilates session. Again, all you need is just yourself and the mat. Okay, so we're going to start with a move called the shoulder bridge. So have your feet and your knees back in line with your hip bones, and just allow the pelvis to feel equal on the right and the left side, as if you had a dividing line down the middle of you. Shoulders equal right and left, and the weight on the back of the arms equal. Lengthen the crown of the head so the neck feels long. And as the tailbone drops into the floor, you'll feel as if you're lengthening away towards the feet. The back will start to arch slightly. And then allow the tailbone to sink into the floor as you start to feel the whole of the spine drop into the mat, as if you're lying on a bed of sand and you're trying to leave an imprint of your spine. And then start to pick up from the pelvic bone as you roll through, lifting off the floor, lengthening through the knees as if you're trying to touch the wall with your knees and with your shins. Being equal each side on the feet, so you might feel as if your toes are lifting or your feet are rolling inwards or outwards, but feel equal on the right and the left side, so then you'll be working the thighs equally right and left, inside and outside of the thighs. And then roll yourself down bone by bone. Feel each bone heavier into the mat before the next one. And then lengthening long again as you feel as if you're reaching through the knees with your hips as the back starts to arch, and then allow yourself to sink into the floor again, bone by bone, and pick up from the pelvic bone, lifting and reaching through with the knees, opening up the hips so they're equal. Make sure one hip isn't dropped down, so the back isn't twisting and the shoulders are open as if they're smiling. And then roll yourself back down, bone by bone, until the tailbone feels heavy. And then we're rolling through again. And do 5 of these. Allow the sit bones to feel as if they're coming together, so the hips feel open at the front. The ribs are a lot softer and feel as if they're dropping down towards the floor. And then slowly rolling yourself down bone by bone. So we stay up there for about 10 seconds. Rolling through. Allow the shoulder blades to drop to the floor, feeling equal on each shoulder blade as if the shoulders are sinking back into the sand. And then slowly coming back down. You start to feel it in the glutes and the back of the legs into the hamstrings. And the last one, rolling up. We're going to change this one slightly. Think about just picking up each heel, alternating, one at a time, without shifting the weight from side to side. So all the weight feels centred in the body. You're just floating the heel off the floor, peeling it off, as if you're peeling off a strip of Velcro. Doing 5 on each side, keeping the hips together, pulling the hips together from the inside so you feel these abdominals contract. Controlling the movement as you roll back down. And then picking up the feet one at a time, so the knees are above the hips. Allow the knees to drop to one side, opening up the shoulders. Turn the head in the opposite direction, allow the opposite shoulder to stay down as you lift and twist to the other side. As far as you can go that your shoulders are allowing you to move. 5 on each side. Now breathe out as you go. Breathe in as you come back up, turning from the ribs. So the opposite rib cage lifts, and the rib drops. The knees come back, the knees drop, and the ribs lift. Allow the shoulders to sink into the floor. Now if you can practically touch the floor, the legs can lengthen away. It could be practically straight. And keep a little bend in the knee if you want to. As long as the shoulders stay down, you're going as far as you need to go. Keeping the neck lengthened so the head isn't looking behind you. The knees stay together. Breathing in to come back. Last one. On each side, exhaling, twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Feet to the floor. Drop the knees to one side. Roll yourself over and push yourself up. And then coming to the side so the elbow is right underneath your shoulder. Heels are in line with your sit bones. Lift with your hip bone off the floor. So your inner thigh feels as if it's lifting and pushing this leg up. Take the arm up and overhead. Come back down with your hip, touch the floor slightly and then lift again. Now watch what this shoulder's doing. Allow that shoulder to stay down. Don't let it change position. Collarbone stays open. This is a little bit too much for you. Now the hands stay here on the floor and just lift and lower. You can do one more. And then come up into your seated position, the legs out in front. Reach the arms out. Lifting from the chest, lift the heart up towards the sky. And then take the hip bones away from the thighs as you start to roll away from the legs. Think about the legs going away from you, but the body's going in the opposite direction. Abdominals scoop in, so these hips pull towards each other to control your movement. Now when you get halfway, breathe in. And as you breathe out, come back up from your chest. Reaching for your toes. Lift the arms up to the ceiling, lifting the heart to the sky, and then rolling yourself down as you breathe out, pulling these abdominals towards each other, the hips towards each other. Breathing in as we hold, lifting from the chest as you come up, not from the neck. Lifting the head, lifting the heart. Exhaling, drop the shoulders, roll yourself down. Nice scoop here. Inhaling, lifting from the chest. Lifting the arms up towards the ceiling. Lifting the heart, and as you breathe out, softening the shoulders. Let the elbows hug towards each other so they don't stay more sort of soft and limp. We really want them working, reaching long. Exhaling as you come back up from the chest, as the hip bones come towards the thighs. Inhaling, lift. And exhaling, rolling down. Elbows towards each other, dropping the shoulders, letting them slide down your back. Inhale as you hold, and exhale, coming back up. Inhale, lift, last one, elbows towards each other, still hugging them towards each other. Soften those shoulders, reaching away. Inhaling, hold, check your shoulders, and exhale, lift. Last time to lift the arms. And release. Bending the knees, bring the feet around, and we'll come to the other side for the side bend. So elbows underneath your shoulder, feet and knees stacked together. So line yourself up against the mat if you want to, with the heels and the glutes and the elbow. Imagine there's a wall behind you, so you're going to keep the head back on the wall, each shoulder touching the wall, the tailbone and your heels. Okay, here we go, we're going to do 5. Pull the hip bones towards each other, breathing in, draw that rainbow over your head, and exhale, come back down, touch the floor just slightly, inhale as you come back up. Again, your hand can stay down here if you want to, you don't have to take it with you. Keep both shoulders back on that wall behind you. 2 more. Lovely. Watch the ribs stay soft. The last one. And then coming back onto the mat. On your hands and knees. Shoulders are above your wrists. Hips are above your knees. The knees are hip bone distance apart. Spread the fingers wide. And just press the thumbs and the first finger into the mat and just feel how much pressure that puts on the inside of the hand. And then take the weight on the outside of the hand into the little finger and just feel how much pressure that puts on the outside of the hand and the arm. Now equally press each finger and the thumb with equal pressure into the mat and just feel the whole wrist, the whole of the hand working. And notice how that releases the shoulders. And just imagine that the body is being pushed up towards the ceiling as you push the ground away. And then let the body come back down towards the floor. Let it sink between your shoulder blades. And again, push the hands into the floor. Let the body push up towards the ceiling. And then let the body sink back down. A couple more times, and you just feel the shoulder blades coming away from each other and then coming towards each other. And we're just activating some muscles in the middle of the back. Strengthen the shoulder blades. Strengthen the muscles in the middle of the back. Help support the rib cage. Last one. Push that body up towards the ceiling. Keep it here as you take one arm out in front of you. Float it off the floor. Take the opposite leg behind you. And if you can keep your balance, Float the leg off the floor, or just allow your big toe to stay just touching the floor. Slowly come back down, nothing changes in the work that you've just been doing. So the equal weight in the hand that you're leaving behind, and that fingers, all the fingers and the thumbs stay exactly the same. Just taking one hand out in front and floating, really reach for the wall in front of you, opposite leg if you can, float it off the floor and reach for the wall behind you. Pushing the spine up towards the ceiling so the body's pressing between the arms, and then releasing back down. Changing sides, floating. If you find it a bit tricky, the foot can stay down. And again, switch. So again, floating. But watch the hand doesn't change position. Keep equal weight in each finger and the thumb. Hip bones pull towards each other, keeping the stability in the pelvis, allowing the ribs to slide down so we're not overarching the back. And your arm is in line with your ear, the back of the head in line with your spine. So push the back of the head up towards the ceiling, as if you're being lengthened, if the crown of the head's lengthening with your fingers. So holding it up there for about 5 to 10 seconds. And you can challenge yourself with the 10 seconds if you want to. 5 seconds is fine. See how you feel, and each day is different. Last one on the other side. Hip bones pull together, making sure that hip doesn't twist open. And then slowly come back, bring the toes together, the knees slightly apart, allow the hips to sink back. And if it feels okay for your shoulders, allow the hands to reach forward, elbows slide towards each other, and let the head drop down. Now if the head doesn't touch the mat, let the hands become a little bit of a prop for you, and you can let your head just rest on the hands, or make a little fist with your hands, and let the heads rest on there, the head rest on your fists. And if the head just does touch the floor, allow the hands to reach forward, elbows hug towards each other, and allow yourself to breathe into the widest part of your ribs. And then slowly, hands come back to your knees. Slowly push yourself up. Restack the spine, think about the sacrum dropping down to the floor. Restack each bone, restacking as you come all the way back up. So if it's uncomfortable in the kneeling position, just come onto your cross-legged seated position, which is just fine. When you get there, roll your shoulders, and then come back the other way. Drop the shoulders down, open up the collarbone, turn the head to the one side, and then come back, and again twist. Just allow the head to turn as if the chin's on a tabletop. Allowing the rib cage to soften down. Think about the shoulders being above your hip bones. So about 5 to 10 repetitions. And then when you come back to the centre, let the head drop and then look up to the ceiling. So about 5 to 10 head nods. As if your nose was a piece of chalk going up and down the board, drawing a straight line. And then come back to centre. Let one ear drop towards the same side, same shoulder, and then allow the chin to roll down through the chest, roll it around, and then come back the other way. About 5 to 10 repetitions. Allow that head to move. You might feel a little bit of crunching going on, just releasing tension in the neck and the shoulders. So it's great if you sit at a computer a lot during the day, or if you spend a lot of time driving. Very tense in the neck and the shoulders. Ooh, there's a lot of crunching going on. And then come back to your centre position. Let the ear just drop to the shoulder. And then change sides. And then try and take it a little bit further each time, lengthening the neck out of the shoulder. Almost as if someone's got hold of the top of the head and then lifting it up towards the ceiling while your shoulders are being pulled down towards the floor. About 5 to 10 on each side. And then come back to your centre position, push the hands away, tuck under, lengthen through the crown of the head and drop the head down, drop the chin down, stretch between your shoulder blades. Lift the arms up towards the ceiling, push your hands, lean over to one side, come back to the centre, reach over to the other side so you're lifting and lengthening it out of the hip. Take the hands away, push away, lift the chest, the heart goes up towards the ceiling. And then come back to your centre position. Well done, guys. And just for the rest of the day, if you can, take a few moments just to focus on your deep breathing into your lower abdominals. As you're breathing in, pushing away, and as you're exhaling, gently pulling back in, taking a few slow, deep breaths. Really helps calm you down and release any stresses or worries you might have or anxious feelings that you might be getting during the day. Just doing a few deep breaths will really help with that. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me.